Welcome everyone to the March 2023 question and answer live stream. We've got a few folks in here already. I think I'm going to switch my browsers around on my screen so I can see these questions a little bit better, looking more like I'm looking into the camera. Or I guess I could just pop out the chat. There we go. I should have done that instead. Oops, there we go. All right. Welcome, everyone. Let's see. We got, now it seems to me, why do I not see older chats?
Has everybody left their likes?
The first one that I see is from Ducky. I know that, pretty sure that Lurch commented first. So let me do some shout outs. We'll start with some shout outs for folks that are here, like Lurch.
You rang.
And his alter ego, Lurch Gaming.
This guy is always ringing.
And Trucker King is in the house.
Hello, hello.
He's also almost awake.
Yeah.
We got Ducky
At least
in the
more
house.
coherent.
Yeah, a little more coherent than he was when he first showed up. Yeah, he was looking and sounding like me. Well, I don't know what he's looking like because I can't see him, but I can imagine. Ducky, Thor, our top driver for Euro Truck Simulator for January, and our number 2 driver for Euro Truck Simulator for February, and currently our number 2 driver for Euro Truck Simulator for March. Speaking of which, let me pull that up. Thought I had it up earlier, but I guess that was before I rebooted my computer. Moving on, we got, oh, that was me. RD Maynard 57. I was just looking at the next comment, but it was from me. Ooh.
I saw that jump.
He got me.
Score.
Again. Oh. Thank you for the, where is it? Oh, it's a tip. Yes, thank you for the tip, ass. Did I even, there's already Maynard 57. I'm all discombobulated and off track now. Rick Rashid is in the house. There's that Rick Rashid guy. There he is, Rick Rashid. Diane Lyons is in the house. Speaking of Diane Lyons, one moment, please. There she is. So Diane Lyons, I mentioned this in the regular live stream yesterday, joined the VTC a week or two in, I guess about a week to 10 days into the month. And she is already our top driver in American Truck Simulator. But she's got some competition, and I think she's going to not drive anymore. She reached her goal of 31,000 miles. And then, but we got RD04 Dave that is hot on her heels by about 350 miles. And he is going to pass her. But she is also rocking Euro Truck Simulator and has moved into 4th place with 44,710 kilometers. That's amazing. By the way, Ducky is our top driver in Euro Truck Simulator, currently at just over 108,000 kilometers. He's shooting for 125,000. Thor is in a distant second at just over 62,000 kilometers, followed by JC Drives at just over 51,000 kilometers. So, wow, guys. And for the record, we are currently placed 73rd in Euro Truck Simulator. We were 72nd earlier this morning, but somebody else is making a push. In American Truck Simulator, we're 22nd. So we are doing phenomenal. Well, you all are doing phenomenal. I'm just doing a little bit here and there. Vigner Gunnar Hawkson. Hey, Vigner, I saw your post or comment on that video this morning. You do your thing. I'm happy to have you drive wherever you want. And that goes for anyone else too. Drive whatever game you want. As long as we're racking up miles for the VTC. Nicholas is a flatbedder, and that reminds me, there's Nicholas and his alter ego, Norwegian trucker Nicholas. Do you know, for flatbedders who are also in the Discord, you can join the stage event that is live right now in the Discord if you are a flatbedder. Anyone who and it's located in the VIP lounge area. So if you've got access to the VIP area, you can see that, but only flatbedders can actually enter. So you can come on in to the auditorium, and if you would like to ask a question live, maybe that's why you're not in here. If you could ask your question live, all you gotta do is click the raise your hand button, and then when we can, or when Trucker King is able to, he will bring you up on the stage, and we can all hear you ask your question in real time. So moving back on to the shout outs. Outback Jack.
Live.
Right, gonna bring it to you live. Outback Jack. Where is that Outback Jack guy on here? There he is. Outback Jack. Got Vigner. RD04 Dave is in the house. Just saw his name. There it is. And I think I got Trucker King. Let me double check. Okay. I'll give Isabella Hagloff a shout out. She's probably watching this later. Didn't I see Nihai? No. Got a few others here. Or that are not here yet that I see. At least they haven't said anything. Okay. So, remember, if you're a flatbedder, hop on into the Discord and hop into the Q&A event stage channel, and you can join us. We want to hear from you. All right. So, oh, yeah, okay, I already gave the standings of where we are on the VTC, and told you who's on the leaderboard. We've got, and I guess I could mention, I've already mentioned Diane and RD04 Dave in the top 2 slots. Outback Jack is in 3rd position, followed by Vigner, Tazzy 291, Bedrock, Bicycle Bill, Sean Picard, Murder Bronco, and Admirals. That rounds out the top 10. I could scroll down to 25th place to find me on ATS. What are you laughing at? You're behind me. Both of you. Well, that's not true. Trucker King's ahead of me.
About to say.
By about 500 miles. I'm just one load away from catching you or passing. So all I did was the top 4 for ETS, which was Ducky, Thor, JC Drives, Diane, followed in 5th place by Big Al, then Old and Tired, Vigner. He's doing pretty good in both games. Darkstorm 63, Lobo 1G, and Susan Arthur. That's the top 10. And we got a new application from Calm R from Hungary. Let me just take a quick peek. Maybe I should have looked at his info before I mentioned his name, just in case. Let's see what he's got to say. Oh. Well, he's been a long-time viewer. He is from Hungary. He's a full-time student, currently studying at a university. We can't promise to do too many miles, but he'll do what he can. Welcome to the VTC and the adventure. All right, what do we got here? There's Bedrock. Hey, Bedrock, I wanted to touch base with you after on a different matter.
Makes 78.
Yeah, it does. 78 members in the VTC. Okay. Well, let's have some questions, folks. That's what I'm here for, to answer questions. I've got one from Knee-High, but I'd like to wait until he gets here. Yes, Vigner, we are growing in size. It is just phenomenal, the growth that we are seeing in our virtual trucking company. We do have I'm watching you, Ducky. I'm wise to your sneaky stuff over there. I will not be drawn into that rickety bridge.
Yeah, he mentioned to me. He mentioned to me when I brought up your pictures there that looked like you were about to fall off that bridge.
Yeah. Looks like your second trailer was about to fall off and drag the rest of you down with it. Oh. Well, Ducky, it's possible. Well, I don't want to commit to that because it's not in keeping with the guidelines that I set. Oh, we do. Does he have a question?
Oh, it's Bedrock. He hasn't put his hand up yet.
Okay. Well, Ducky, the criteria, because, you know, chances are good you're going to be convoying with me next month. I don't think anyone's going to pass you. And even if they did, 2 people wouldn't be passing you. So you're gonna either way, you're gonna be eligible for a convoy. Or, well, I guess if you're in second place, you're gonna want a truck skin. And by the way, let's talk about your truck skin. Have you thought about what kind of artwork you want on your truck, and why it might be a yellow rubber ducky? Let us know. Oh.
Said it was close, but I managed it.
What I was going to say, though, is it could be, but I'm not committing to it, could be that when we do your convoy, maybe we could do that. But, however, I do not want to get involved with going to Share Mods or any place like Share Mods to get the files. I'm just done with that. Yeah, I'll bet you have some thoughts. I mean, I just assumed you're going to want a big yellow duck on your truck. But maybe that's wrong. You let us know. Actually, you could let us know now, because we could start working on it. Well, not the truck, but what is the date today? Today's the 25th. We got 6 days left in the month.
Is that a duck that went flying across behind you?
It's probably a pigeon or a seagull. Speaking of seagulls, there was just a whole bunch of seagulls out my at the vacant lot next to us here. And while the occasional seagull is not unusual, I mean, I do live in the desert. So it's unusual there for there to be a bunch of them, you know, making their little seagull squawks, which is kind of a unique sound. Yeah, exactly. And I mean, it was so noisy, I could hear it back here, and I walked into the kitchen in the living room to look out, see what the heck is going on. And there was all these seagulls that were kind of flying around and squawking, and I, you know, my first thought was, oh, well, maybe
Toss
there's
a bunch of French fries on the blot.
No, I didn't, but apparently somebody did. Somebody was tossing bread and whatnot out there. So, yeah. Well, Ducky, it's not about safe sites. It's about sites that make you jump through hoops to get their files. And I'm done with that. Share mods and the other websites just like them, done with them. Need to find a better way. Maybe I can even, well, we'll see. Anywho, so what else we got? Anybody tired of looking at that truck stop yet? And I got nothing else to show. I'll admit that what I've seen from you and Rick Rashid and a few other people have posted some interesting screenshots of South America. Well, I don't want to ask Nihai's question without him being here. Yeah, I've heard that Truckee Mods is safe. Well, it's not, again, it's not about safe. Because I don't necessarily think that there's viruses even on share mods. But it's the ridiculous hoops that they make you jump through. And I'm not on Truckee. And I'm not anxious to get on Truckee.
Yeah, there are some mods on that require you to have a login for Truckee.
Yeah, and if I, you know, I mean, I've discussed with TK and Pilot about getting on Truckee for other reasons associated with the BTC. And if I do, then I'll be looking to get mods from there. But I'm just, I got enough going on. You know, why do I need to do that? Why do I need a Discord? Why do I need to stream? That kind of stuff. I don't want to. It's like, why do I need a VTC? That's why it took so long for me to put it together. Do I remember? Oh, go ahead.
Or he's asking, do you remember your first long haul trip?
Yeah. Sorry, before I answer that question, let me just interject here. We're testing this new stage channel in the Discord. And so both Lurch and Trucker King are in there, and Lurch is going to be reading comments and questions to me from the live chat as if I were driving, because we may use this feature in the future, probably will in the future when I'm driving. And so we're going to treat it as if that's what I'm doing, even though I'm not, and I'm actually looking at the live chat myself. So that's what's up with that. So anywho, back to Thor's question. Do you remember your first long haul trip? Yes. Well, the first one where I was driving, let's see, when I went out on the road with my instructor after my training, we were based out of Salt Lake City, actually West Valley City, which is a suburb of Salt Lake City in the West Valley. And we headed out at night, and I was driving. We went up the mountain to the east and headed to, I believe, Nebraska. And yeah, it was interesting. The first trip that I did after that, after training, and I was on my own, again, headed west, or excuse me, headed east out of Salt Lake City. And I don't remember where I went. I think I was headed to the Midwest somewhere to get home after going through 6 weeks of, well, let's see. There was 2 to 3 weeks of training on site, and then I was out on the road for 5 weeks. So yeah, a couple months. And I don't remember exactly where I went, but I got a load somewhere to the Midwest because I lived in Minnesota at the time, near Minneapolis. What's the significance of 6 months? Are you saying it'll take me that long?
All right, we got.
Oh, there's a hand.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember how to do it.
Right click on his head.
Yep, I got it.
There he is. Welcome on stage, Bedrock. Woo!
So we can show everybody how this works.
Well, they can hear it.
So, I'm going to preface the question by a little bit of explanation. And then I've got a question, and it may lead to a couple of other questions. It'll give you something to discuss. How about that?
Okay.
So, as a fleet manager for a trucking company that I worked for years ago, we were force dispatch. What force dispatch means is the company drivers are assigned a load, and they're forced to take that load. They don't have an option to turn the load down. We also had owner-operators that ran for the company. Those guys got to decline loads if they wanted to. So, with that being said, you were an OTR, over-the-road trucker, that was an owner-op that had the opportunity or the ability to pick and choose your loads. Did you book I know you booked your own loads, but did you book those loads from a set of loads that the company already had, or did you actually go out and do your own booking of loads?
Right. Let me take it in stages. When I started out as a company driver, I was on force dispatch. I had to go wherever they sent me. When I made the transition with my first company to what they called owner-operator, or yeah, they called it owner-operator, I was no longer on force dispatch, but if I didn't take the load, that could put me into a situation where I might not get anything. I didn't get to pick stuff with that outfit. So that led to some conflict. I only really refused the load once because I hated to go into that place because I won't go into the why. It was just a pain in the neck. And basically they cajoled me into eventually going, but they lied to me, which is the reason why I left that company, because I wasn't doing that, not playing that game. When I switched over to Schneider, I went there specifically because I could book my own loads. To answer your question, I booked the loads on their load board. So they had a team of people that would work with customers of Schneider to have loads available for all the drivers. The driver managers, the people like Bedrock at that company at Schneider, they would use that load board to dispatch company drivers, and independent contractors like me would use the load board as that I could see, and I would book loads for myself. There were never any out of company loads available. They all had to be on. They were all on the company's load board, I think, is the answer to your question.
Okay. So with all of that being said, there's lots of factors out on the road. As a fleet manager, I had drivers that love to go west. I love those that like to stay local. I had those that like to run long loads. Had those that like to go stay up on I-80, some down on I-10. I had one driver that loved to stay on I-95. He liked to run north and south on I-95. If he ever got west of the Mississippi River, he was mad. We ran continental United States and 3 provinces in Canada. With all the factors taken into account on the road with the 4 seasons that we have, what was the number one factor? Because there's lots. There's miles, there's weather, there's traffic, there is close to home. There's, with all the factors taken into place, what was your number one factor that drew you to a certain load when you got ready to pick your loads?
Yeah, there were several factors. You're right. And the number one factor sometimes changed depending on time of year, depending on family stuff. What was they trying to do? So in the summer months, I would run all back and forth, Interstate 80, Interstate 90 when I could. The higher the number, the farther north in the country. So Interstate 90 runs from Seattle to Boston. Interstate 10 runs from Los Angeles all the way to Jacksonville, Florida. So I preferred, when I could get long cross-country runs, I took them because I like doing long cross-country runs. If I could go coast to coast, I'd have been happy. But I found myself doing a lot of regional stuff, and I would just chase the money. Like I'd find good loads out of Ohio going up to Maine. The problem with that is that loads coming out of Maine don't pay very well because you're basically trapped up there. You got to get, if you want to get any kind of load, it usually doesn't pay very well. So you just have to do the math, knowing that loads coming out of Maine and New Hampshire aren't paying well. You have to make sure you get a load going in there pays well enough so that the average between the two is worthwhile. And there were a lot of them. There were a lot of loads that I could get up into that area that paid extremely well, that made it worthwhile to take those loads that you barely broke even on coming out. Same thing with Florida. But anyway, back to the question. What were the factors? As the weather got cooler, I tried to do my east-west stuff farther south. 80. I mean, in the wintertime, you want to avoid 80 because it's just, through Wyoming, it's just bad. Super windy, super cold. Roads get closed a lot. And that even happens in Interstate 70 between Grand Junction and Denver as you're crossing through the Rocky Mountains. And it can get nasty and ugly, and you might have to put chains on. I avoided that stuff like the plague. I would run I-40 a lot because I-40 just makes a lot of sense. I-10 when I could. So anyway, so weather was a factor. Was I trying to get home? That was a factor. There was a time when an event when my older daughter had a health issue, a health scare, and so my overriding priority was to find a way to get to her in Minnesota, which I did. I got lucky. I got some loads, a sequence of loads that got me there and fairly quickly. So those are factors. Other than that, other than weather and personal factors, the overriding factors were money. I just run around the Midwest or back and forth between Chicagoland, Ohio, and Texas and back. I would even do a triangle from Chicagoland down to Laredo up to the Midwest, like Ohio. So I did a lot of loads into Columbus area. Yeah, okay, that's it. I think.
Okay.
One
That-
last question and I'll be
Okay.
done. So I understand getting hung up in the Northeast, and a lot of my drivers said that that was kind of like the Bermuda Triangle. You get hung up there and you just bounce around and around and around trying to get out of there. And what we typically found was our loads trying to get our guys out of the Bermuda Triangle, because they may have to stay up there 2 or 3 days just bouncing around
Yep.
up in the New England area. We would have to get them on 995 and get them south to Florida, Georgia. Once we got them there, we could get them a load that would at least come to west of the Mississippi. It may only come to Texas or New Mexico, or it may not all go to California, but we had to get them. For some reason, loads coming out of the Northeast just typically didn't go back west. I mean, they were few and far between.
Yeah.
I
I experienced that a lot. I had a lot of trouble getting across the Rocky Mountains.
Right.
Either direction. Except to Denver. I could get from almost anywhere in the West, I could get to Denver. And then from Denver, I could typically get to Pacific Northwest. But getting east of there was tough. So, I mean, there was the occasional load out of, Southern California that would get up to, say, Minnesota. I don't even recall any from there that went much of anywhere else, and they went quick because those were in high demand. But if I could get a load, and I often did get loads to the Denver area, but loads out of Denver heading east, which most of the ones that I was on when I was dry van would go to Oklahoma, possibly Texas. And I've even gotten like beer loads out of north of Denver, going up to the Dakotas. They didn't pay very well, so you had to really, really want to get east of Denver.
Probably the last question is for me, and then I'll let everybody else talk. So our company drivers, of course, all their expenses were paid for, to include maintenance on their vehicle, fuel card, lumpers, windshield wiper fluid, anything that was pertaining to the truck was paid for, to include IFTA taxes and all those things. What wasn't taken care of by the owner operators was their maintenance on their vehicles. They did carry a fuel card. We did expense them lumper fees and things of that nature. Was that something you also ran into? And this mainly is just a question I probably already know the answer. It's just so that if there's some out there that are like, yeah, I want to be a truck driver and I want to be an owner operator. Well, there's expenses that go
A
along.
lot of
Just because you're
expenses.
an owner operator and you're with a company, you're still going to be responsible for some things.
Right. If you're leased onto a company as an owner operator, you either have your own truck or you're leasing it from that company. You have responsibilities for all the expenses associated with that truck, including fuel, maintenance, possibly tolls, depending on the nature of your relationship with that company. That company may be able, like, okay, I'll just use my own experience. When I was with Schneider, I had to pay all my own expenses with a couple of exceptions. Schneider, because they were so super anal about vehicle maintenance, they would cover certain maintenance stuff. They would make sure you had to go and get an inspection every 3 months. That was a DOT requirement, but they would actually have us do the quarterly inspection level is not as stringent as an annual, but they would have us do an annual every quarter. So, but they would cover that cost. That's not necessarily maintenance, it's just the inspection. We had to cover the cost of all oil changes, lube jobs, tires, fuel. I had a fuel card that went through them, which got me fuel discounts that they negotiated for their fleet. And I got to take advantage of those fuel discounts at places like Pilot, Love's, Travel Centers of America, and Petro. So I got to take advantage of those discounts. And I used the fuel card from them. But the cost of my fuel and anything else I used that fuel card for came out of my settlement every week. And let's see, I think that was it. I think that answered the question. But different companies handle that differently. It depends on the nature of your relationship as an independent operator or contractor and owner operator. It depends on your relationship with that company. There are lots of drivers out there that do their own thing, period. They don't sign on with another company to pull their freight. They just do their own thing. And they have to do all that stuff themselves. I came to value the things that Schneider did for me. I still had to pay my IFTA taxes, which are field taxes. But their accountants, their beam counters did all the calculations for me. And all I had to do was see what the end result was on my monthly settlement or monthly statement for the IFTA taxes. And then there's just a myriad of permits that you have to get as a truck driver for every state. Every state you drive in or through, you have to have certain permits, especially if you're hauling alcohol, tobacco, and a few other things. You have to have special permitting. And if you're a totally independent owner-operator, you have to do that all yourself. With some companies, like Schneider, for instance, they have a staff of people that handles that for you. And for the amount of money that they were taking out of my loads, I deemed that was worthwhile, just so I didn't have to deal with that stuff. Okay, I want to get on to some other questions that we've got.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Matthew Bright asked, what is the most beautiful state in your opinion?
All of them. I mean, I haven't been to Hawaii and I haven't been to Alaska, but I've driven in the other 48 states in the continental U.S., and every one of them has some aspect about it that makes them beautiful. I especially appreciate the scenic beauty of the western states, especially those along the Colorado or the Rocky Mountains. So that'd be northern New Mexico, Colorado, Wyoming, and Montana, and parts of Idaho. But there are parts of every state that I just loved and found beautiful. The fall weather, the fall color changes in Maine and New Hampshire. Wow. You can't beat that. But just during the summer months in New England, beautiful. Just loved it.
Adam Buser asked, can truckers switch from long haul to short haul routes?
Yes. I mean, it depends on your definition of those two things. I did long haul, but I also did short runs. And I love doing the long haul cross country, back and forth. And the reason is I just drive and not have to hit the shipper and receiver every day. But there were many times when I might run 2 loads in a day. I can tell you, for those that haven't heard me say it before, the shortest run that I ever did was about 1 block, 1 city block. Here in Las Vegas, as a matter of fact, I did a run from an Amazon returns center. So if you ship something back to Amazon that you don't like or for whatever reason, it goes to a return center. Some of that stuff that they get, they then send on to a liquidator. Well, here in Las Vegas, North Las Vegas actually, well, there's a lot of Amazon facilities, but the one that was for the returns, they were only like a block away, if that, from a liquidator. And so a load that I booked, which I think paid like $150, I just went over there, dropped my empty trailer, hooked up the loaded trailer, and drug it up about a block or less to the liquidator, and I dropped it in his door, and I hooked an empty trailer, and off I went. That was some of the easiest money I ever did in trucking. But another definition would be long haul versus regional, or long haul versus local. And you can, but they're typically different divisions within a company. And so that takes some coordination. If you're a company driver, it takes some coordination internally to switch divisions. So you go from doing over the road, long haul, long distance, to regional. And that typically means that you're going from driving a sleeper cab to a day cab. And when you're doing local with a day cab, you're typically home every night. Well, not typically, you are home every night. That's something that Trucker King does. He does local stuff. He drives a day cab when it's fixed.
Yeah. Back on wood.
Adam also asked, have you ever taken a load that goes to Toronto or any Canadian city?
Nope. Never been to Canada in a truck. I've only... that takes all new permits and things that I just didn't want to get into that. Not only does it take different permits, but you got to go through customs, and I just abhor all the stuff associated with that, jumping through hoops. And I know there are people that do that every day. I just didn't want to be one of them.
Okay, Outback Jack says, very few of us older truckers set out to be drivers. Why did you start driving?
I didn't set out to be a driver either. In 2009, I got laid off from my corporate job, and I took some time, about a year and a half, to try and to do an internet-based business. And it didn't work out, and I went through all my savings, and I had to get a job. And I didn't want to get a job in the industry I was in before, which was the casino gaming industry. I spent 24 years in that industry, and I was good at what I did. And I knew a lot of people, and I could have got a job pretty quickly, but I didn't want to. I was done with the industry. And a friend of mine at the time was a truck driver, and he had been talking about it. I had thought about it. I mean, I had fantasized about it, I should say. In years prior, I had thought, because I'd interacted with some truck drivers, and I'm like, this sounds like an interesting lifestyle right up my alley. I like being by myself out on, whatever I'm doing. At the time that thought process had originally happened, I was a single parent, and that wasn't feasible. But then later, when I was unemployed and my business wasn't working out and I had to do something, I was single at the time. And so it worked. So I kind of fell into it, and I loved it. Kind of wish that I had done it always. Yeah, so I didn't start out doing it. I didn't set out to do it, but I'm glad I did.
Adam is wondering, do loads in Toronto pay better or the same as in a U.S. city?
I have no idea. Having never been to Canada, never booked a load, I wouldn't know. By the way, Adam, congratulations on your 6-month shield. Along with anybody else who's got it. I hadn't even been looking at that. I just happened to look. Bedrock's got it. I know Trucker King's got it. I'll bet Lurch has it. Pilot Bro has it.
Well, not on this profile.
Right. Were you going to read that next one?
What is the state with the worst loads
Loads?
or roads?
Roads. Wow. I think the better question is, which are the states with the worst roads? Every single one of them, it seems like it's got bad roads. Although I didn't experience bad roads in Nebraska or Wyoming, at least now I'm talking about freeways like Interstate 80. California, lots of bad roads. Where else? Michigan. Oh my God, Michigan on I-90. Well, even I-90 was it 94. When you had when 80, 90, and 94 separate, and 94 runs north into Michigan. That stretch of road, well, that's still in Indiana, but then it crosses into Michigan, and it's just bad. Or, well, it was. I mean, horrible. You couldn't even drive at freeway speeds. It was so horrible. You can tell that the lowest bidder did those roads, but also that area gets cold, so the roadway gets messed up a lot. So there was that. Typically through a major metropolitan area, because they get so much traffic, especially if they get a lot of truck traffic. It just seemed like Southern California, especially, is really bad. In some areas. Although Interstate 5, north of Los Angeles, actually north of the Grapevine Hill area, north of there all the way up, was actually in pretty good shape. But it had been, when I was driving, it had been recently redone, so that's why. Hey, there's Pilot Bro in the Discord, I mean.
Is Pilot Bro gonna ask a question, or should
Well,
I read the next one?
He doesn't have his hand up.
Okay. Adam says, when on I-95 in New York, is there a truck route that avoids New York City, including New England?
Yes. Well, not New England necessarily. Well, the only part of New York City that I ever went through was on the Cross Bronx Expressway. You go over the George Washington Bridge and the Cross Bronx Expressway when I was on my way to Connecticut or Rhode Island. But I got to the point where I only wanted to do that at night. If I had to go that way, I would only want to do it at night if I could. But generally speaking, if you're headed up to, say, Maine, hey, Nick, congratulations for your 5 months as a reefer hauler. If I was headed up I-95 from, anywhere south of New Jersey, then I would, or even south of Virginia, I would cut over, I would find my way onto Interstate 81 and head north, and then until I could get to Interstate 84 and cut across the beginnings of upstate New York. I don't remember what city that is that's near there. But anyway, that would take me over to Massachusetts. Or, well, actually, it would take me to Connecticut. What's that? Well, it's been so long now, I can't even remember. I guess I could pull it up on a map. But anyway, I would use the Interstate 81 to Interstate 84 route. It's much farther, like 100 miles farther, but it's worth it to avoid the Washington, D.C. metro area at any time, as well as you'd avoid Baltimore, New Jersey, the GW Bridge, the Cross Bronx Expressway. You could avoid all of that by taking 81 to 84. Much better.
Ryan asked, do you use the fuel card for truck wash too?
Nope. Paid for that with my own credit card.
Outback Jack says, how did you manage your 24-hour reset? Did the dispatchers try to get you home?
I generally didn't do resets. I rarely ever did resets. I would just manage my clock so I could keep moving 7 days a week. So you just need to not burn through all your time each on any given day. And I didn't, when I became an independent contractor, I was my dispatcher, so I managed that. I actually developed a spreadsheet, an Excel spreadsheet where I tracked my hours, off of my e-log clock. I'd punch that in every day, and I would get a feel for where I am, how many hours I've got left in the current. It's a moving window of time, so I would know how much I've got left in the current. Like after 7 days, you'll get time back from 8 days ago, and so that would just be factored in, and I would always have a running tally of how many hours am I going to have moving forward. And I would refer to that before I would book loads to make sure I had enough time available, driving time available to me to take on loads.
Rick Rashid says, what's your favorite food?
All of it. Well, there's exceptions, of course. Like I don't like tomatoes or cauliflower and a few other things. I don't like sauerkraut, but I like spicy foods. I like Cajun food. I like Mexican food, stuff from Southwest. I love Asian food. I love lots of different kinds of food. I love food too much. That's why I'm kind of ballooned up a bit. So I don't eat sugar stuff anymore. Just hardly. I mean, I still occasionally eat a little bit. I take smaller portions now, pie or cheesecake. But generally speaking, I don't eat those things too much anymore. Go ahead.
Green Black says, what background video is that?
This is video that I shot with my digital SLR camera, which has a video feature. This is the Pilot truck stop in North Las Vegas. So I just went through in my car. Because I used to work when I worked at Penske here in town as a driver. I would move equipment around the valley, and it's just right down the road from here. So one day I decided to come to work and bring my camera kit with my tripod, my digital SLR. And my GoPro, actually, I did that as well. But I think this is from my digital SLR. And I just set it up, and I just let it record, I don't know, 20 minutes of video. This isn't 20 minutes. I think this is like a 3-minute loop or something. But that's what this is. This is actually the Pilot truck stop in North Las Vegas.
Pilot Bro says, if you could go back on the road and get your own truck, which truck would it be, and why is it the T680 Next Gen?
He knows me so well. You missed out the free part. My own free truck. Well, free or not, yeah. Probably the T680 Next Gen Super Sleeper, the extended cab. So basically the RV on wheels. I would absolutely do that, so that I would have, I'd have the little toilet in the shower, so that, on those days when I don't have access to a truck stop shower, which would be, the truck stop shower is still preferable to that, but I still would want that as an option in the truck. But to have the little kitchenette, the little refrigerator. I mean, it had a little refrigerator already, but better one. I would absolutely have the super suite, and I'd just be out on the road all the time, because I'm like, why do I need to go home except to check mail and pay bills? Well, most bills I paid by online anyway. Yeah, and it'd be a T680 almost certainly.
Nick asks, have you tried the new 1.7 or 1.47 public beta for ATS yet?
No, I don't do betas. First of all, it doesn't work with Trucks Book. Last time I looked, it still nope, still does not. Um, so no, when I was younger, I might have done that, but nah, I don't have patience for that right now. Um, I need to be doing whatever the current release version is. I don't need any more drama. So you young kids can do that, and when it's ready for release, I'll get it.
Adam asks, where do truckers go to do errands like grocery shopping?
Mostly Walmart. A lot of Walmarts around the country you can sometimes park a truck at least long enough to do your shopping. There's a lot of Walmarts that I've spent the night at. There's one in particular in jeez, it's Connecticut. I can't even think of the name of the town now. But I did a lot of deliveries and pickups there, so I would make my delivery and then drive over to this Walmart, and I would park in an area out of the way, and I'd go in and do shopping, and then I'd park there for the night, and then in the morning I'd go off about my business. But even here locally, like I have the grocery store I go to most of the time, there's almost always a truck parked where I would park. Off to the side where hardly any cars park. And that's where I would park. Now, I've been kicked out of a few Walmarts, but I've also been at a couple of Walmarts that have truck parking. That they cater more to trucks. There's one in Nebraska. There was one in Missouri that I recall. I mean, it's truck/RV parking. Heck, there's even a McDonald's. Now, I didn't park there overnight, but they had, because it's right along the interstate with a lot of, so you get a lot of RV and truck traffic, and you could actually pull into that McDonald's. They had room for trucks to park, but it was really for RVs.
Yeah, I don't get why a store would not want to allow overnight parking there, because it would bring in business.
Well, you might think so, except that they take up a lot of space, a lot of car spots, and because
Are they really that busy overnight?
No, but the other problem is they get a lot of problems with drivers who dump their trash or pee in the parking lot, making a stink. So, because a lot of truck drivers are pigs.
One bad apple spoils the bunch.
Yep.
Basically.
So, that's usually what it is.
Doom3 asks, how much night driving did you do, and are night deliveries normal?
A lot, and yes. There are, I did a lot of night driving, and sometimes it was preferable if you're going through a major metropolitan area. I just soon drive at night. Like I mentioned earlier, if I was crossing the George Washington Bridge from New Jersey into New York and then taking the Cross Bronx Expressway, or even the other way around, nighttime is preferable after 7 p.m. because you could make some decent time. The same thing is true of any major metropolitan area: Chicago, Columbus, Ohio, Minneapolis, St. Paul, Los Angeles. If I had to take I-5 north to south, south to north through Los Angeles, I never wanted to do it during daylight because it's just a nightmare. What was the other part? Oh yeah, our night delivery is normal. Yeah, there are many places that you pick up and deliver at are 24/7, including holidays. So yes, I've done pickups and deliveries on Christmas and New Year's Day because there are places that never shut down. So you and I can go to the grocery store or Walmart and get our stuff whenever we want, because there are people that work 24/7. Well, no, they don't work 24/7, but their operation is running 24/7 to keep stuff stocked wherever you are.
Nick asks, have you thought about which state you want to do after your Exploring Texas series? Loving the series so far.
Wait a minute, there was some other stuff up above that. Nicholas said some. I don't know if that was a question. Okay, you're right. Yeah, I thought about doing New Mexico. I thought I would just move west out of Texas to New Mexico, and then at some point, while I'm in doing, I mean, actually, Oklahoma might get released before I get done with Texas. I still have quite a few states, or I'm sorry, quite a few cities in Texas to do. I'll tell you how many in just a moment here. I have 11 more cities in Texas to do. During my most recent Exploring Texas video, I believe I said I had like maybe half a dozen left to do. I was wrong. It's closer to a dozen. I believe it's 11. And actually, since I keep a running tally, the cities I have left, according to my list, is Austin, Beaumont, Corpus Christi. I thought I did that one. El Paso, Galveston, Huntsville, McAllen. I thought I did McAllen. San Angelo, Tyler, Van Horn, and Victoria. I may need to revisit my list. I think I've been to some of these. Forgot to check them off.
DNB asks, how is security in the resting areas at night? Have you had any problems?
Security is non-existent, and I have not personally had any problems, but I know people who have had problems. Yeah, sometimes the police come through, like at a truck stop. Sometimes the police cruiser would just come through. At rest areas, it's probably the same thing. I've never really noticed police cruising through, but I'm sure they do. Occasionally there are problems. Guy that got me into trucking was shot at a truck stop in Indiana. He kind of created his own problem, but the end result is that he was shot and he almost died. So, you know, don't do stupid stuff in stupid places with stupid people, and he did. There's no excuse for the person who shot him, but you know, it happens. And the only reason why, which is crazy, like the only reason that he didn't die is because he managed to get into the truck stop, so that, you know, stumble into the truck stop, and someone called police and ambulance and stuff, saved his life. There's basically no security. That's you're responsible for your own security. And then, by the way, that's another reason why I didn't want to go to Canada, because I couldn't bring my security with me. Just leave it at that.
Go along with that, Nicholas says, I'm glad I don't have to worry about stuff like that. Adam asks, have you ever seen trucks go through a drive-through without the trailer?
No, they won't fit. The drive-throughs have low overhangs. Trucks are tall. Most trucks, if like the bigger sleepers, if you look at these ones in the background here now, the tops of those trucks are just a little bit below the tops of the trailers, and those trailers are 13 feet 6 inches high. You can't get through most drive-throughs like that. There might be the rare exception that you can't get through drive-throughs. You have to park, even if you don't have your trailer. You got to park somewhere and then walk into the if it's a fast food place, you have to walk in. If they're closed, you might have to walk up to the drive-through window. I have actually done that. Walked up to the drive-through window, waited behind cars, walked up, did my order, got my stuff, walked back to my truck. Not fun, but you do what you got to do. And just to kind of follow, 1 second, just to kind of follow up on the security thing, problems like that are rare. You know, even in the U.S., you know, it's like that anywhere. Anywhere you have people, you're going to have problems. So they are rare, but they do happen. And then, you know, every once in a while, I remember there was an article about a truck driver who was murdered in his truck. He was parked somewhere off by himself. He was murdered and his truck was burned. And I don't know if that was a theft or some other kind of a deal that went south, like kind of happened to my friend. But these events are rare, but they do happen. You're more likely probably to die of a heart attack in your truck than you are to be murdered by someone. Go ahead. Sorry.
Becky says, what brought you to ATS and ETS?
I watched somebody else's reaction video. What the heck is her name? The gal, she was doing FedEx at the time. Happiness by the Mile. You know, I like to watch other truckers' YouTube channels. Trucker Josh, Trucker Chick, what's her name? If Mark was here, he'd say. And that's how I know Mark, because we were both fans of her channel. This young gal from the Northeast, and she got into trucking, and I was kind of fascinated by that, you know, there was a young woman who was into trucking, and I since discovered there are many young women into trucking, but also that she had a channel, and I found her, and actually I think I found Trucker Josh, and it was Allie Knight, that's who it was, and they had even connected and you know, on the road, and did a video together. So no, they didn't hook up. I mean, he's married and she was in a relationship, but anyway, and I tried to connect with Allie to try not to do a video, but I actually wanted to pick her brain about video editing, because I knew next to nothing about video editing, and I knew that she was making a delivery in Salt Lake City. I was going to be in Salt Lake City, and I offered to buy her dinner or lunch or whatever at a truck stop diner thing, so I could pick her brain about, you know, video editing. And you know, we weren't able to. Our schedules conflicted, so it didn't work out. But there's a lot of interesting people out on the road. So anyway, so I wound up watching Happiness by the Mile. Was another gal, a young gal that was doing the trucking thing, and I was fascinated by that. And so I'd seen 2 or 3 of her videos, and then one day she had this reaction video for ATS, and I had heard about ATS, but I thought, oh, that's just some game, and I'm not, you know, I don't want to do that. Like everything else, why do I need a Discord? Why do I need a BTC? I just didn't see the attraction to American Truck Simulator. I mean, I've been into computer games 40 years or more, and I just wasn't attracted to it. Well, I watched her reaction video. Her boyfriend had got her the game, so she was recording a session, and I was fascinated by it. And that was almost 2 years ago now. Well, I got it. The next time it was on sale on Steam, I got it. and I was hooked. Well, I did my reaction video. That reaction video that I did was literally me reacting in real time the first time I launched the game. That was very authentic. And so, but I was hooked. And I was working locally at the time, and every night when I got off work, I'd come home, have something to eat, and boom, I was driving ATS up and down I-5 in California and all over Nevada and Arizona. I was hooked. Couldn't get enough of it. So that's how I came to ATS. And then ETS was another one of those things where, why do I need to do that? And people kept telling me I need to do that. Then I got it. Now I'm hooked on that. I should just stop whining and listen to people. Go ahead.
Adam says, do truckers get a paid vacation or have time off?
It depends. The short answer is no. Time off, yeah. You get home time every few weeks. I mean, this is over-the-road drivers I'm referring to. Company drivers typically do get a paid vacation or, paid time off. Just like any other employee. As an independent operator, I did not. I had to fund my own vacations, my own time off. I had time when I took time off, I was not earning money. So I was financing it from that standpoint.
Ryan asks, have you been stopped by a DOT officer?
Many times. They're known as roadside inspections. And I have been stopped for roadside inspections many, many times. Passed every one of them.
Nicholas says, have you seen Riding with Dave?
No. That does not ring a bell. Is that a YouTube channel?
Nicholas?
Okay, Ducky, I hear you.
He says, yes, a U.S. trucker.
I forgot what the question was. Oh, okay. Riding with Dave. Okay. I've already moved on to two questions or comments ahead of that. I see Nicholas says in Norway we have 5 weeks paid vacation each year. Well, that's great. There's a cost to that, though. But that's fine. I mean, nothing wrong with it.
Adam says, do truckers go to an urgent care or a doctor's office for a checkup?
Yeah. If you're seriously sick out on the road, you might go to an urgent care somewhere. I mean, I had health insurance that I was able to secure through my association with Schneider Trucking, or Schneider National. Checkups, not so much. And again, truck drivers have a habit of letting their health suffer. So, generally speaking, I didn't do checkups. I had to do a physical every 1 to 2 years.
I was just going to say, is there like a yearly physical requirement?
Yeah, it's biannual. So that's a DOT requirement. You have to maintain a medical certificate in order for your commercial driver's license to be valid. As far as going to a clinic, there are some of the larger truck stops have a clinic inside where you could go if you need something. There was a couple that had dentist's office in there, but who knows if you're going to be by there or not. Like the Iowa 80 truck stop in Walcott, Iowa had one. I went to a chiropractor at that truck stop in Walcott, Iowa once, and got an adjustment. Felt pretty good. But you could do the dental thing. You could go to their clinic if you needed some health stuff. You could actually go there and get your physical done as well.
Day and B says, have you ever fallen asleep behind the wheel for a moment? I've heard that it happens to some truckers.
Oh yeah, you see me get a little drowsy just doing this because I'm sitting so much. I have done that driving truck where I've nodded off, and when I recognize that that's happening, I'll pull over somewhere and take a break. In fact, I took one of those, but actually I've taken naps where I've actually either pulled off onto the shoulder on an off ramp, or gone into a rest area, or gone to a truck stop, parked, and took a nap. And that's for those of you who have seen the pictures that I shared of when Truckzilla took out my truck at a parking lot. It was a Swift driver who could have parked anywhere else in the whole parking lot, but he parked next to me. And when he pulled out, he cut too soon, and he took out the front of my truck. I was sleeping because I needed a nap. I was so tired. But yeah, I have dozed off a few times. And you know that sound when you're running with fatigue turned on and you start to get into the red zone on you got red bed, and the driver sounds, he does the yawn, and it's a particular kind of yawn, like I'm not trying to yawn, but I'm yawning. That sound. Done that a lot, and when I've recognized that I'm getting to that point, I figure it's time to take a break. So go to a truck stop, even just pull through the fuel islands, walk in and get a fresh cup of coffee. I'm usually good for another hour or two after that.
We got Bedrock's back up.
Oh.
So, going back to the reaction video, I've got a question. Do you happen to know how to turn off that annoying music in the background?
Huh. Shut up. No, will you please tell me next time you're watching, yell at your monitor again? Yeah, now I know how to turn it off. Well, I've forgotten now. Oh, that wasn't a question. That was a... I don't know how many times Bedrock has told me that he watched that reaction video and saw me struggle with trying to figure out how to turn that music off, and he was yelling at his monitor. And I know he's not the only one. I think Trekker King said the same thing.
Yep. I'm guilty of that. No, there. No, go down.
Yeah.
Down.
Scroll down some more. Oh, my goodness. Okay, any others?
Nick says, if you ever visit Europe, would you like to try and drive a truck in Europe in real life?
That would be neat, but I think I'm way past that time in my life. First of all, I don't think I'll ever get to Europe again. And as much as I would like to drive, now that I've driven virtual trucks in Euro Truck Simulator 2, I would like to drive a Scania and a Volvo and a Mercedes. I'd like to drive all the trucks in real life that I've driven in the game. It would be fun. Hell, I'd probably even do a man truck for Nicholas. That was a man, right, Nicholas?
Man truck.
Man truck.
Adam says, do truckers stop at tourist attractions in cities or along the highways?
Not very often. I mean, they're not geared towards trucks, although some of them are geared towards RVs, like out west. And back east, not so much. If there's room to pull into an area to park for the attraction, then maybe. But you got to think about it like in your job. Would you just stop working in the middle of the day or at any point during the day and then go to an attraction? So when we're driving, that's our job. We got to get from point A to point B, and we only got so much time to do it. So, we're on the job. I'm on a mission. I got to get from here to there. So it was always, for me, the mindset was always, get there-itis. Get there-itis. I got to get there. So, but I did stop in a few places, but there's a lot of places that I wish I would have stopped. I did share some photos from the that place in northern Idaho or central Idaho, from the lava flows. I can't even remember what it's called now, but I shared some photos from that. There are a couple of other places. Like I stopped, I'm trying to think, it was the Theodore Roosevelt or some other place in one of the Dakotas where I actually did pull in and parked and got out with my camera and took a bunch of pictures because it was so beautiful. But I didn't go in and do stuff. I just went to the overlook. So it just depends on how much time you have in your day. If you can fit it in as a rest stop, your 30-minute break, great, fit it in. But what I wish that I would have done was plan that kind of stuff better. Like if I'd have planned my route, or when I knew I was taking a load from back east to the West Coast, Pacific Northwest, I should have been looking at or thinking about places that I might want to stop and then just fit it into my my schedule. But I failed to do that many times. But again, there were many times I did stop and take pictures, and I shared some of that with the audience here locally.
Becky says, wouldn't a drive at the Scania Test Center interest you?
It would. That does sound interesting.
And then Tasmified says, you're talking about the Craters of the Moon National Monument?
Yes, that is the one. Craters of the Moon. I knew it had something to do with moon, but I couldn't remember what. Yes, Craters of the Moon National Monument. Went there as a kid. We were on vacation. We were going through the area. We stopped to check it out. And so when I trucked through there one time, I did stop, took some pictures, and it was neat. It is an awesome place. There's a lot of other places I wish that I would have stopped at and taken photos. But again, I was always in a hurry to get to where I was going, get their itis. Gotta be somewhere, so that's what I would be doing. That would be my focus. It's just like any other job. You should be focusing on your job. That's what I did.
Or it should.
Right.
Huh? I said keyword is should.
Right. So I don't see Nihai, which is surprising because I know he wanted to be here. Oh, go ahead with Adam's question, then I'll get to this.
Adam says, what kind of weather do you not like driving in?
Snow. Ice. That's easy. I mean, I hated windy conditions because wind can blow trucks over, especially if you don't have much of a load. Snow is not fun in a truck, Adam. It is not. Yeah, I like snow too for the first couple of weeks of winter. Not driving in it necessarily. I can drive in it. The problem is all the other fools who can't. And they're out on the road.
Yep. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
For
So
these idiots in the four-wheel drive pickup trucks that think four-wheel drive means bring it.
right.
And then you see him about a mile up the road in the ditch.
Yep. So I didn't like driving in the snowy conditions or windy conditions. And that's Wyoming is notorious for both of those things. All right, so let me get to Nihai's question. He asked, what's your most memorable streaming moment? Well, I was reminded this morning that one of the most memorable streaming moments, because it happened during a live stream, was the very first Trucknado event. It happened early summer, I think. And that was a group of us that convoyed regularly on my live streams. We were in Northern California, just north of Sacramento, and we got into a scenario where suddenly there's just a Trucknado. And it was crazy. I wonder if I have that video. I should play that video. Now that I think about it.
California Carnage.
That's right. Thanks for reminding me the name. So I'll have to share the screen. Welcome back to my virtual over-the-road trucking adventure in Europe. That's not. Welcome back to my virtual over-the-road. Okay, that was crazy.
Don't see anything yet anyway.
No. It was supposed to be. There it goes. Oh, right. Did you see that?
Yep.
Road 8, you guys are at that pilot. Can you hear it?
Nope.
Well, I paused it, but before I paused it, could you hear it?
Nope.
On the stream.
Try it again.
Or were. Oh, Road 8, you guys are at that pilot. Or were.
Yes.
Yeah, we're
You
just
can hear
on the road from it.
Now I gotta mute this so that I don't hear myself talking.
Wow, what a mess.
Wow.
And that's how it started. Just like real life. All right, guys. All right.
All right, lead away.
Whoa.
No, you don't, Travis.
Whoa, something just punted me.
Wow.
Oh my god. Yeah, so we've got a...
What the heck?
Oh, you should see up in front of us here, up in front of Talbot.
Yeah.
Oh!
Something just hit. Whoa, what the hell
What
was
was that?
A jet or something landed there on the left.
Wow.
Oh my
Crashed
god!
into the
There's
ground.
cars
Well, there's a whole
flying
bunch
everywhere.
Oh, we got
wow.
carnage behind us, a bus and a semi flipping through the air.
You should see what's in front. You should see what's up here by Talbot and I.
Oh my god, everybody in front of me just got wiped out.
That's,
I got
that's
flipped
cars
over.
landed.
Yeah,
The
actually,
cars
so
just
they-
Cars falling from the
field.
from the feet, like the sky. There's cars landing from the sky.
Oh,
I got punted clear across the highway, laying on my side.
That car just landed in the field on the right,
Yeah.
out of the sky.
I gotta
I mean-
get towed.
it looked like
What the
something
hell?
it looked like something just barreled through everything, both sides of the lane, like a giant invisible truck or something.
Wow.
Come through.
My
Everything.
trailer and
I got
cargo
some of
is
that.
100
That was one of the most memorable live streams ever. And a close runner up to that, and I don't think I have that handy, is the Texas Ferry Fiasco. Yeah, I don't have that handy.
Nice truck dancing on top of you. You bouncing around to
I-
get scared.
My POV should be in your video clip in the VTC, ain't it?
It might be. I mean, I think I included it in the video that I created to put up
Yeah.
on the on my channel. So
Track fun. There's your. Oh, it's not.
anywho, wow.
Yep, Thor. And from that came the name Trucknado.
Right. That's how the Boomers Trucknado Transport name came about. So let's see. I'm going back through here. Dan said, I often hear there's truck ban in place when there's a lot of wind in my country. That happens in like Wyoming. That happens.
It happens here too.
Yeah. I didn't know that. But in Wyoming and some other western states, they'll, if for trucks that have no load or a light load, there'll be reader boards overhead, and they'll say, you know, no trucks with light loads, park it, basically, is what they're saying. There's nobody checking to see if you have a light load, but if you wind up laying on your side on the side of the road, there's a pretty sure bet your load was not heavy enough to keep you from being blown over. It's more of a warning to say, you know, you need to park it. And that's a warning that I would heed. Because I didn't want to be blown over. I've seen trucks blown over, and it's no fun. I've even got a couple, at least one I think I posted in a video a long time ago in Kansas. But most of them happened, for me, most of them happened in Wyoming, along Interstate 80. So,
Ryan says, what do you do if you're stuck at a truck stop in a snowstorm and your customer needs the load soon?
You let dispatch know. I mean, you know, you're gonna probably would have been in contact with them anyway because of weather. I mean, I've been in that situation, not necessarily for weather, but also for, like, I've been on the road when the highway was completely shut down because of a bad accident. Like I was parked, I was stuck on the freeway for like 4 or 5 hours, not moving because of an accident. And that's happened a few times. Sometimes the accident is weather related. And yeah, I mean, I remember driving, I was still kind of new, and I was driving in snowy conditions on Interstate 81 in Virginia, headed north, and the weather was getting bad, but you know, some of the older truck drivers were blowing by everybody. And it wasn't long before the freeway was shut down because presumably one of those truck drivers who knew better wiped out and shut everything down. So sometimes that just happens. And let's see, Nick, your comment, what was that, the one I was in? No. And I remember or vaguely recall being in one with military equipment and ran into a problem. Didn't think that was a convoy. I thought that was a solo one that I did, but maybe there was another one. There's been a few. And what causes that, by the way, is as someone in the convoy has a high latency. So if someone's got a lot of lag, usually, you know, well over 100 milliseconds latency, it can cause that problem. And I don't want to name any names because I don't want Wolf to feel bad, but he does have a problem with latency issues, which is why he gets disconnected a lot because of the internet service that he has. And he was in that convoy. But I don't want to mention his name because I don't want to make him feel bad.
There's someone else that was in that convoy that now has worse latency than Wolf.
Who's that? I don't
Bucks
remember.
is almost always in the triple digits now.
Oh, since he moved, yes, to Montana.
Yep.
All right.
Adam says, at truck dealers, do you test drive new trucks and test the comfort of the seats in bed?
No. It's not like you're buying a car. I mean, you as an independent owner operator, you might, because you're buying the truck. As a company driver, You take what they give you. It could be an old piece of garbage. It could be a new truck. I've had both. As an independent contractor, I leased a truck and it was new. But I didn't test drive it. What's that?
I said that was with Schneider, right? That you did the lease.
It was also with Central Refrigerated. I got a new truck. All I picked was the model. No, well, the model and the color.
The company I worked for, their lease purchase guys, they weren't new trucks. They were the trucks that they took off from their company driver fleet that had 500,000 miles on them, which I did not understand that. Because they prided themselves on company drivers having either equipment that was under 2 years old or had less than 500,000 miles on it. Once the truck got to that point, either or, they'd put it in the lot, and then lease purchase guys can go over there and pick a truck. Because my trainer said that's what he did. They didn't give him an option to get a new truck. Be like, I wouldn't want to buy something that's already
to buy.
God knows what.
No, I'm gonna make a decision. Right.
You know, because there was a company truck, so you know it was beat on. It wasn't taken care of except for basic maintenance that the company did. But come on, you're a company driver. You're gonna treat that truck like it's actually something you're paying $1,000-something a week for?
Right. Most don't. I would, but most don't. So, yeah. My first truck when I got through training, and I got back to Salt Lake City with my trainer. They flew me up to Billings, Montana to go recover a truck. I was a company driver. They flew me up there to recover a truck that another driver had been driving, and it broke down in Billings, or near Billings, and had been towed to a repair shop in Billings. And then they got him into something else, and he kept going. So my job was to go up there and to get that truck, and that was going to be my truck. Well, I can tell you when I got into it, and this was in like December of the year, and it was cold in Montana. I got in there, and this guy's stuff was still in there, including his underwear, and a bunch of other nonsense. The guy was obviously a pig. I got into that, and first of all, it wasn't a standard truck. It was an international, and it was not even like any of the other trucks in the fleet that I was familiar with at that company. I got into that thing and I wanted out. And that first day, I got the truck and I was driving it from Billings, Montana to Burley, Idaho, which is quite a distance, to go pick up my first load. And I talked to my dispatcher and I said, I want out of this truck. Do whatever you got to do to get me out of the truck. I want no part of this thing. This thing is a pigsty. The guy had one of these big old insulated mugs with a handle on it that had pop in it, that because it froze inside, it came up that big straw in the top of the lid and spewed everywhere, all over the passenger side of the passenger seat and all over the floor. And it was just a nasty, sticky mess when it thawed out. And anyway, when I guess I whined enough that when I got back, they got me into another truck, and it was a new one. I got a new truck. So I got lucky in that respect, but I was not a happy camper. So but when I leased a truck, I got a new one. and I picked what truck I was getting, but I didn't go to a dealer. I didn't test drive it. I just like, oh, okay, great, I'll take that, and moved on. So it's not like you're going to a dealership to buy a new truck. If you're an independent owner operator, yeah, I would. I don't know about test driving it, but probably. Where'd we leave off?
Rick Rashid asks, "What's your all-time favorite Euro truck?"
Oh, I still love the Scania, and I just drove it the other day, or was it yesterday? Is that what? No, I was driving the Volvo yesterday with Thor, but I drive the Scania when I'm. So it was last week, early in the week, when I created my most recent exploring video. Still love that, but I really like the Volvo. One of the things I like about the Volvo that I'm driving is that the retarder, the engine, the gearbox retarder, is more effective than the one in the Scania, which is really weak. Or at least the sound is. So, I don't know. I like pretty much every truck I've driven so far. I haven't driven the Iveco except as a company driver in the game. So I've driven the Scania and the Volvo. I like them both. I've driven the Man, which I thought was fine. It just looks weird. It's a boxy looking truck. I've driven a little bit in the, yeah. I've driven a little bit of the Mercedes Actros. I should probably drive it more, and I should drive the other ones. Yeah. Anyway, what's next?
Have you been to a truck show, and is it like going to a car show?
I have not. I've had opportunities to go. I just wasn't inclined, because it's like anything else. You have to take time off your job to do it. Not making money when you're off doing other things. So I considered it, and I wouldn't mind doing a truck show. But yeah, I mean, because it'd be cool to see all the new stuff. And I've been to a lot of trade shows in the casino gaming industry, and been to a couple of other trade shows. I've never been to a truck show. I do kind of regret that, though. You got another one?
No, that's it for questions.
Okay. Let's see. Taz said something a bit close to high-profile vehicles. This very. Oh, that's interesting. I'm just reading Taz's comment about those roads being shut down because of weather. Yeah, I'm with Thor. My truck was my home. And I can't say that I never allowed shoes in my truck, because I wear shoes in my truck. But I didn't wear shoes into the sleeper area. I had slip-ons. Slip-on work shoes. And
Flip-flops.
no flip-flops. But when I was done, I would take those off, slip them off, and to get in the back. Did not want to track dirt. It's bad enough I had dirt up in the front. So I mean, I like Thor's idea. No shoes in the truck. It just wasn't practical for me.
Adam says, "What truck do you think is weird as in shape and layout?"
The Man truck. Boxy. Too boxy for me.
Rick Rashid said, did you wear slippers to drive though?
No, I wear my shoes. My slip-on shoes. I mean, it's the same. I wear the same shoes now. Not wearing them right this minute, because I don't wear them around the house. But they're just. I don't have. They don't have laces. I needed quick, easy, on and off shoes, so I could take them off easily before I get in the back. And also because I needed to put them on quickly if I had to get out in the middle of the night to go pee. You know, if I'm at a truck stop or something. That would be neat to live stream a truck show, wouldn't it? Adam, as for U.S. trucks, which ones do you think are weird, as in the shape and layout? I don't know about interior. They're all pretty much the same on the interior, just some different nuance about placement of different things. But exterior, probably the International Pro Star. No. What's that one we were talking about the other day, TK?
Star.
The what?
Lone Star.
Lone Star.
Lone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The PT Cruiser of trucks. Looks. I actually kind of like it, but a lot of people don't, and I get it. I'm not a fan of Internationals anyway, but I kind of like the look of that one from the exterior.
Rick asks, what was your heaviest ever load?
Well, I'm going to get to Adam's question first, because it's right above that one. I do not like any Volvos in U.S. Volvos. There's nothing wrong with them. I just don't care for them. My heaviest ever load would have been probably close to 46,000 pounds. So it was probably water, bottled water.
Oh, not paper?
It's possible it could have been paper. Paper loads can get heavy, but all the really heaviest ones were water. Bottle, you know, you go to the store and you buy bottled water. Well, they fit upwards of 46,000 pounds of that water in a truck. The water, I mean, you can do the math. Water weighs about 8 pounds per gallon. So just, you know, you could figure out how many gallons that is. I'm not going to do it, but you could. Ryan, are you saying the DAF truck? I've driven I've got a DAF truck. And I've driven it in some of my live streams. I guess I could do it again. Dan, that's an interesting question. Have you ever had problems with the cargo not being secured enough or trailer door opening? I once saw that on the street. The load fell off the truck a few cars in front of me. Okay, so let me address the second part of that first. No. If a trailer door has opened up, that's the driver's fault for not making sure that it was secure before he left. That's a door issue. That can happen. It's rare. But first of all, if drivers know how to secure their trailer doors, if they didn't, then they're incompetent. Or sloppy. So there is a way. I mean, I have actually had a situation, and it was my fault, where the top on the right door, the top thing didn't get latched properly. I was being lazy, and I didn't look to make sure that I was securing the door properly. And I drove the whole way to the shipper that way, several hundred miles. I didn't have any issues because the load was secure. I mean, it wasn't going anywhere. It's all sitting on pallets, basically. Loads can fall out once you do open the door if they're not secured. A lot of the loads I did were drop and hook. I never opened the trailer. It was already sealed when I got the load. But have I ever had problems with the cargo not being secured enough? Yes, because one load that I had taken was loose meat. It was scrap meat that I was taking to a dog food producer. And it was just literally loose meat in these big bins. And they were like reinforced cardboard bins. They were like 4 feet high or more, and they were probably 4 feet wide. So they were like 4 by 4 by 4. And that'd be about 1.5 meters to those of you who are on the metric system. And there was no top, so it was just open on top. So that's how I knew it was loose. Well, I knew it was loose meat because that's what was on my paperwork. But it was sitting, and it doesn't really matter what it was because it could have been anything. But I got into a situation where I had to slam on my brakes. The load in my trailer shifted forward. I didn't know that until I got to the shipper and I opened the doors, and because I had been there when I got the load and I had closed the doors, and I knew where the containers were when I closed the doors. Well, when I opened the doors, they were pretty far forward, which also tells me I had way too much weight on my drives at that point. But what had happened was that something happened in front of me and I had to hit my brakes on the freeway, and I came to a complete stop. I actually had some debris hit me. But it wasn't until later when I opened the doors that I realized my load had shifted. So that can happen. Most of the time, it's fine. Because most of the time, most of the stuff that I hauled was on pallet. It was palletized. And they start loading from the nose, working back to the back. And so there's no real opportunity for the load to shift forward when you hit the brakes. The load that I'm referring to, though, was kind of a unique situation.
Adam asked, do you like the Volvo VNL or FH series?
Well, that was the one I answered earlier that you had skipped over. So, but he asked another one about European trucks.
Yeah, what European trucks looks and drives the best in your opinion? He likes the MAN, Scania, Mercedes-Benz, and Volvo.
For the most part, I like everything that I've driven. I mean, I lean towards the Scania and now the Volvo in the Euro truck. I've driven the MAN, driven the Mercedes, the Actros, and the DAF. But as far as best, in my opinion, I don't know that I can form an opinion. I can just say, you know, what I like. And so far I like every truck I've driven. I do need to do the Iveco and the Renault. I haven't. Since I started buying my own trucks in Euro Truck, I have not gotten into either of those, so I need to do that. So maybe next week I'll do one of those.
Can a trucker work part-time? Asked Victor.
Yeah, I have here locally though, so it has to be like a local thing. And I've worked part-time here in Las Vegas.
Great. Just FYI, Bedrock's back up on stage.
Okay. Does he have a question? I assume that's why.
I do.
Okay.
So over the road, this is two-part. I know that you had a co-driver as an owner-operator.
No.
Did you have him? Did you get him as a kitten, or
Oh.
was he something that was adopted after he was older in age? And then my second part of my question is, I know that sometimes you try to put a cat in a vehicle and they don't care for it a whole lot. Was Trucker Kitty one of those that you were his companion to, and wherever you were, he wanted to be, and so he was content being in the truck?
So, Trucker Kitty, my daughter brought him home unbeknownst to me and without any permission whatsoever when he was not yet even weaned. And this was many, many years before I got into trucking. Well, I guess, I got him in 2001, and I got into trucking in 2011. So he was already roughly 10 years old by the time I got out on the road. He did not care for it, but we were companions. He bonded with me. Despite the fact that my daughter brought him home, we bonded. And so, you know, we were out on the road together. He didn't care for the being out in the truck. He got used to it. He got motion sick a lot because I don't know what the deal was. I don't know if that's a cat thing or if it was just him. It would happen on certain roads where there was a lot of turning, like back roads, a lot of dips. He would get very sick. And then he only hopped out of the truck one time. I got out when I was hooking a trailer. I left the door open, and I was, doing the landing gear, and I saw him hop out of the truck onto the ground, and I yelled at him, "You get back in there!" And he hopped right back in, and that was the only time he ever did that. But he didn't like the sounds. He didn't like the vibration. Every time a pressure relief valve would cut loose with some air, he would look like me when someone would buy me a coffee while I'm backing up into a dock. So, yeah, but he eventually kind of got used to that for the most part. As for the question, are Daimler trucks and Mercedes-Benz trucks the same? It's the same company, Daimler-Benz, at least in the U.S. Oh, and Vigner answered the question. Yeah, Daimler-Benz in the U.S. Mercedes-Benz and Daimler is the same company in the U.S. and he's right, they own some other, like Freightliner, and I think Western Star are owned by Daimler-Benz. Well, we're at about 2 hours. I think I want to wrap it up. We've had a lot of questions. How many peeps we got in here? We got 20, 18. Just changed. As soon as I said I want to wrap it up, people started bailing.
Oh.
I
sent you some pictures of those trailers that are going to get released here after the stream.
Oh, right. Thanks. I will.
Hey, look who's here.
Nihai. A little late to the show, man. We're just wrapping up. I did answer your question. What was the question? I forget. Your most memorable streaming moment. I shared a video of it. That's the Trucknado. But Ryan asked the question. I'd like to address that. The smell of the litter box in the truck. Occasionally, it was a bit overwhelming, depending on what Kitty had been having to eat prior to that. But I kept it clean. Every time I stopped for fuel, I scooped litter. So, I didn't let it build up. But occasionally, it'd be stinky. Let's see. Your favorite location in ATS? I don't really have one. Do I? No, I don't.
Whenever new map DLC comes out.
There you go. That's the answer.
That's your favorite.
That's my new favorite. Adam, do I like European trailers better than US trailers? No. I like them both. I've learned to appreciate the European trailers with the steering axles. When the rearmost axle turns, and I've even got a steering axle on one of my flatbed trailers in ATS. I've learned to appreciate that because it'll make tighter turns when you're backing into something. I also, I do appreciate the shorter wheelbase of the European trucks, so they're more maneuverable. And even, the wheelbase of the trailers because they're a little shorter to begin with, not much. But as far as driving down the road, I prefer the longer trailers, the U.S. trailers. It's a different driving environment in the U.S. or in North America than it is in Europe. I like both now. Ducky says we're in position 72. That must be Euro truck. 811,000 kilometers driven. That's impressive. So let's see what I show. 72nd. Looks like Bedrock ran in another load during this. And yeah, we're 6,000 kilometers ahead of the 73rd. And we are less than 7,000 kilometers behind 71st. We have been trading off between 71st and 75th in that range. So we're doing all right. Oh, thank you, Trucker King, for scaring the bejesus out of me. Thanks for the tip.
Yep.
It would be interesting to have Australian truck simulator with those truck train. Well, that's coming. I've got it on my wish list. By the way, I need to do my shout outs. I forgot about that. Knee High Sniper finally made it in the house. Dusty, was he here? Can't remember.
No.
AKA Dirty Dog, our top ATS driver for January. XLT 588 Gaming. Susan Arthur said she probably wouldn't make it, and looks like she was true to her word. Said she'd be sleeping. She was up late driving last night, at least my time. Omega Trucking Replays. He says he's usually working this time. Silent Dilemma and Farming Sins. Cody Old, JJ Man 1982. There he is. Omega Trucking Replays. I'll catch you later during a chat. Nick is here. Carlin. The Bucks the Driving Gamer popped in earlier. I think. G-Dog, Sanjay, David H74, Ipswich, Matthew Roth, Willie Thornton, Karis Lynn, Gearjammer 89, Hamza Kin, Talk About It, MKA Transportation, Boomister, Mike Kildare, Troken, Peter Evans, Jason Kempthorne, Marcus Randolph, Luke Rossi, Lee Jenkins, Justin Burns, Farlander, Dalton Live. Avni Shawashti is in the house, or he was earlier. Let's see. What is the most money you want to spend on a new truck, European or... Not sure what your question is there, Adam. What is the most money I want to spend? I don't want to spend any money. And I don't know how much European trucks cost in relation to U.S. trucks. Grumpy Gruntpaw Gaming, Green Blocks, I think was here. James Guide, Bjarn Vidar Yatri.
Yeah, make his day and hit that thumbs up.
What the Fox Say? Day and B is in the house. Robert Quilter, Picard Gaming, AWR 1050, and Nia, you're welcome. Cameron Goss, Lud, Edgar Ross Livestream, Tazamified is in the house. Humor Musical Light, JC Drives, Devastator 1942, Chris T, Diego Vargas, Robert Alexander, Bruce A, Jason Putman, Dylan, Meph, who's also Ryan Schnagel, I think. He changed his YouTube name. Alvin Carrillo, Uladrock, Newsass, General Chaos, Matthew Bright's in the house. Tazzy 291, Timothy Parrish, Dirk B999, Andrew Black, Darren Romaine, Doom 3 in the house, Ron Stoffel, Big Al 2424, Jennifer Roth had a birthday yesterday, Dustin Simbro, Mr. Nice Guy, K. Blake Wee, Charles Payne, SPK 844, Wolf Gaming, got a mention earlier, Cecil Simulations, Trucking for Life, Elliot Hallisey, John the Bricklayer, Dan, Future Endeavored. Let's see. Well, Adam, for a US truck, I know you're going to spend, like my T680 was over $150,000 when it was new. Lennox, Mr. Clouds 8, Luis Aquino, DD901, Clive Hughes, Rogerio Souza. I can tell you that when I was contemplating going back on the road, I was looking at getting a truck, T680, with the Super Sleeper, you know, the RV interior kind of a deal. You know, that would, a decent one would run about $350,000. Limitless Sam, David Klein, Zynor, Road Trip Nerd, Django, Daryl, Herbert Harris, Victor's in the house, Furious Dragon 2356, Cart, VRCQX, Brian Villapadua, David Harris, and Paul Lansford. I think Paul Lansford, Lancey, who also lives in Australia, might be a little early for him yet. So all the Aussies are probably just getting up. It's Sunday for them. Got everybody. See if there's anything else. Yes, there is a... yeah, shout out to all the drivers in the VTC that are just cranking out the miles and kilometers. That's amazing. By the way, I did want to share, it's a little premature, but I will share it anyway. I do have a new toy. I've had this for a couple of weeks. That's a little bit of glare. This is a Stream Deck. It is an Elgato Stream Deck. It's one of their latest version. It's the Stream Deck Pro, I think is what it is. I can't quite make it out in the small print on the panel. It's got a series of buttons. I don't want to touch them because something bad could happen. Like, I can touch this button. This button, and we go back to here. It's got some knobs for doing knob things. It's also got this screen. I don't have anything on the screen at the moment, but I can move on the screen. And now, if I was driving, I've got some things programmed to change my views in the game. I'm still figuring this thing out, but I'm finding that it replaces the need, or appears to replace the need for a button box. So between my steering wheel and this thing, I may have all my buttons sorted out. It's impressive. I'm still learning how to use it, but right now I have it set up to work with OBS. So, you know, again, I could go to the credits. Oh, that's the live. And go back to live, to this particular scene. It's awesome, but I'm still sorting it out. Let's see.
Future
Go ahead.
Endeavored says, do you think a bathroom, shower, kitchen, fridge, and dining seats and tables should come standard in long-haul trucks? And if so, which one would you say would be the best to put all of that stuff in, like a Western Star?
So there's a couple of the questions I wanted to get to, but I will get to those in a minute. To answer your question, Future Endeavor, do I think that no, there's no room. There's no room in those trucks for all that. I do think that it would be nice if they came with a little mini fridge. My truck had one, but it was an upgrade. I was able to use, I had a table, and that's what I liked about the T680. It had a table that swung out of the way when you didn't need it there, but it would swing out, and then you could sit. You could rotate the passenger seat 180 degrees to face rearward, and then you could sit at that table like a desk and work. I never did that because I couldn't rotate the seat because Kitty's litter box was in front of the seat and it blocked the rotation. I would just sit on the bunk, and I have a few videos where I actually was sitting on the bunk and, you know, eating at the table. So you had that. And even the one where I cooked, where I prepared a pot roast in my slow cooker, you could see that table in there. I also had a TV and a DVD player, although I pretty much never watched it. I had an antenna, an HD antenna, but it didn't. It only works in places where it works, and I didn't watch TV much anyway. I would watch YouTube videos mostly. So as far as like the bathroom shower, there's just no room. There's no. It's physically not possible to do all that stuff in a standard over-the-road truck. You really do have to have that extended super suite. And even then, the shower and bathroom is a tiny little cubby hole that a big guy like me could just barely get in and turn around in. So it's not like it's not like home. But it would be palatable. I mean, I would do it. And no, I wouldn't do it in a Western Star. I would do it in a Kenworth T680. So Adam asked a question for Peterbilt trucks. Do you like the 379 or the 389? Well, I am not familiar with the 380, with one of those models. I'm not familiar with. So, I had a 587 and I like the 579. So there's just a lot of different Peterbilts. I only drove, let's see, I drove a 386 and a 579 or 589. I forget now. Let's see. Trucks are not like RVs. That's right. They are not. Yes, there are some that are like RVs, but they're very much extended and they're very expensive. A standard long haul truck is somewhere in the vicinity of $150,000. These other models that you see at the Matt's Truck Show, we're talking $300,000 to $400,000. Trucking companies are not going to get those. It just doesn't make sense. So I mean, I've seen some independent owner operators that do, and I would if I were going to do it again. Yeah, they're extended. So not for companies. It doesn't make sense for companies. Besides, they have so much turnover, and company run-of-the-mill company drivers tear up trucks. So companies are not going to invest that kind of money into regular company drivers. I could see them possibly doing that for someone who's been with the company for 10 years and has a proven track record of maintaining their trucks. Maybe even 5 years. I don't know. But again, it's a huge cost difference. It's double a standard over-the-road truck, if not more. And Trucker King says he just got a Blue Yeti mic from your description below. Well, thank you. That is what I use, is a Blue Yeti mic. And, you know, how does it sound? How can you hear me?
Sounds great. And it's on sale.
Is it?
$89.99.
Oh, that's a good price.
So, yep. Be here Monday.
Adam said, try comparing a large RV versus a large sleeper.
Yep. Huge difference. I am not using an arm. Well, I'm using my arms. But
means for your...
Right. For my... I have one of those arms. I have no way to attach it to my desk. So no, I have my Blue Yeti attached to the base, sitting on my desk, right behind the camera. So I'm actually talking to the camera and to the mic at the same time.
question for you in regards to that. Is it 100% necessary to get that foam topper for it too?
I don't need it. I would say no. It's a pop filter. So unless you have the microphone right up here, you don't need it.
Okay. I mean, it's only $8, but I'm like, eh.
Right. Right, Pilot's right. Only if you're going to be up close. It's a pop filter. I got it because I thought I was going to have it up close, and I don't. It's actually distance-wise. I have a tape measure. So this is about where I sit when I'm driving. The distance from my mouth, oops, to the microphone is about 31 to 32 inches. I don't need the pop filter, but it's on there. I own it. I already bought it, so it's on there. Yeah, I have to. I mean, when you get it, you're going to need some help setting it up, and let me know.
Pilot Bro asks, recording question. Do you record your voice with 2 separate devices in case one fails?
No, which is why sometimes I fail. I use... Hold on. I only use my Blue Yeti. I have a microphone associated with my camera. I do not use that one because it is not as good a quality as the Blue Yeti. The Blue Yeti is a very good microphone. Go ahead.
Bedrock says, one last question. You said that you wanted to talk to me after class. Am I in trouble?
No. I wanted to
listen to him.
It's a trap. No, it's something I want to talk to you about yesterday, but you ducked out because in the middle. I'll tell you later.
Yeah.
It's not relevant to trucking. Okay. What is that? Adam says, take an image of an RV and a sleeper. There is a difference with weight, payload, height, width, etc. The width and the height are not. Oh, I don't know about an RV. The RV, I mean, all vehicles that traverse U.S. highways have maximum dimensions and heights that they can be. So the maximum height, except for, oversized loads, maximum height is 13 feet 6 inches. Maximum width, I think, is 8 feet. I don't recall. There are exceptions, but they're rare exceptions, and they usually require placarding and sometimes an escort. So, Neha, I think Bedrock would love to be grounded. They would give him more time for farming. Where was I going with that? So RVs, being vehicles that their dimensions are regulated by the same as everything else on U.S. highways, they generally speaking can't be higher than 13.6 or wider than, and I don't know if 8 feet is the right number, but whatever that width is the most that they can be while driving down the road. Now, a lot of RVs have the sides that come out, but they can't do that while they're driving. So...
Sorry.
Bedrock, that was my first thought, too, when he first mentioned it. Doesn't have to do with another credit card issue, does it?
No. God, he's never going to let me live that down. Okay, backstory. So, Bedrock set up a new dedicated server for Farm Simulator for multiplayer. And he gave a couple of us access to his account so that we could get in and reset the server whenever needed. Well, I had logged into the account, and then I went to go set up my own account with the same company. Well, actually, I did log out. That's what happened. I logged out of Bedrock's account. I made sure I was logged out. Then I went to the website. Actually, I clicked on the affiliate link for another content creator. You know, I always say, link in the description below, click on the link and help support the channel. Well, I do the same thing for other content creators. Well, I went to one of the farming community's content creators, one of his videos, and went to the link in the description below and clicked on it so I could go to the place they were recommending, and so he would get credit and a little kickback or whatever. So I went to the website, and I'm going through all the stuff, and I thought I was starting to set it up, and I didn't create an account first. I don't know why I didn't. I was just going through and reading all the stuff. So but I wanted to make sure I was setting it up the same way as Bedrock. So I went onto a new tab and logged into Bedrock's account. Well, as soon as I did that, because I was in the same browser but on a different tab, I was now logged into Bedrock's account on the tab I was going through and setting up a server for. And so when I went through the different steps, and I'm going side by side comparing, I'm like, I want the same thing. And then I got to the part where it's like, okay, click here to do it, to do the thing. And I saw the thing where it said, and this should have been my clue. Should have been my clue. It said used saved payment setup. And I'm like, I don't have a saved payment thing. What's that about? So I clicked on it. Bad idea. Yeah. So and this was late at night. The next morning, Bedrock woke up and he had an alert on his phone about a charge. Because that saved payment method was his credit card in his account that I didn't realize I was logged into in the same browser on a different tab. Because I shouldn't do things like that late at night. Oh, it was just one of them things. And oh my God, I was trying to put the genie back in the bottle and I couldn't. And I'm scrambling to like, I'm looking for their helpline, the call to get it canceled. And of course they had normal business hours, so I couldn't. So the next thing I did was to send a direct message to Bedrock on Discord to let him know I screwed up. But he didn't see it until after he could tell the rest of the story another time, but he didn't see my DM until after he was freaking out about the charge on his credit card. And he was crafting a sternly worded message to that server company about charging him double because he didn't know that I had messed up. Anyway, so he's not letting me live that down. Okay, let's see. Non-server related questions. I have a couple of custom trucks with sleeper slides. Oh, slide outs, yeah. Taz, max width is not 90 inches. It's at least 108. Because the inside of trailers are listed as 108 inches, I think. Nine feet. So let's see. That's US. I don't know about other places. Let's see. 2.2 meters and 2 meters respectively for U-metric guys. Yeah, pretty sure. Well, 2 meters is only about 6 feet, so it's much wider than that. So it's about 3 meters. Adam, the truck and trailer might weigh about 35,000 pounds, but a truck, just a tractor alone with a sleeper, and stuff is around 20,000 or less. And that's with fuel. I had to weigh mine when I first got it and I had to go load it, fill it up, and then weigh it. So I knew how much my truck weighed. Trailers don't weigh that much. It seems yeah, so around 15,000. So combined, they would be about 35,000. Let's see. All right, so yeah, I do want to wrap it up. My coffee wants out. Dang, Bedrock, you do another run while we were yakking? Because I thought he only had 3 or 4 earlier. So, yeah, wow. It started out slow, but we really got into some stuff, and now we're at 2.5 hours, almost exactly.
Don't forget those trailers.
Thank you. I already did.
So I can hit this update button after you show them.
Have something to show y'all. Oh.
Now you get to see the new trailers coming to ATS for Boomer Truck NATO Transport as well.
And these will be available when?
As soon as you end your stream. Last 3 photos I sent you, 1 of each trailer.
PK Bedrock says, my trailer says my dad can beat up your dad.
So this is the SCS grain hopper. It will work for the hopper bottom and I believe the SCS one does the belt driven too. But that's pretty much it. The other side looks exactly the same.
I see it's got a drop axle in the back.
Yep.
And I recognize this from Farm Sim as a double belly dumper.
Yep. This one is the part of the Load King and Prestige DLC. So same setup basically. This is the belly dumper. And then the next one is I forget which one that is. It's a load. I think it's a Prestige. One's called. Oh, let me look in my templates here. So one is called Distinction, and one is called Prestige, basically. And I believe this one is the Prestige. Well, all trailers now have this color scheme option. That's up to the boss there.
Well, can you change the color when you're adding the skin?
No, I think he means on our other trailers we have. Your van trailer.
The van trailers and the reefer trailers, that's a complete skin.
Yeah. I set these up so that you can't mess with the colors, because really they should just be black, being grain hoppers.
Yeah.
Grain haulers. So I don't believe I added the option for people to change the color. Just to be able to change the color to match the truck with the paint scheme. Oh, you look on I get it. But you want to go with realism, you're either going to see stainless steel or black for these types of trailers on the road.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I would have just thrown the the Utah seating on the trailers, which I did just to see what it looked like, and it didn't look right.
Yeah, this looks very good, and black is a pretty standard color for these trailers in real
Yep.
life. I think the other alternative would be the stainless steel or white.
Yep.
And this doesn't look good with a white background.
No. No, it don't.
I think this looks good.
Not the shield, but the actual truck NATO image that's on the back on a white background, you can't. It parts of it blends into the background, so it don't. I tried it with white. It don't look right.
Right.
Oh, and as of now, there isn't a way to do it with the chrome / stainless steel, so we went with black.
I'm pretty satisfied with how it looks.
Okay, so I am pushing the update right now, pilot, so give it about 3 minutes. This is updated. The garage has been updated to add for ATS to add the first and second place winners' photos into the garage.
I've seen it.
I
think I've seen it.
Yeah, and then this is getting updated. That's it for right now.
Do we have a new Easter egg coming?
When I think of one. I might be able to try to figure something out this weekend on that. I don't have too much planned for this weekend. You know, no real life stuff going on, so I should be good. So I'll try to work on that. And then the only thing I got to do after this stream is I got to throw my new SSD in my computer.
Remember, folks, in the description below, there is a link to tip Trucker King if you appreciate and value the work that he has done, as I do.
Real quick, the links you have in this description are the old ones.
Oh, geez, really? I could have
Yep,
swore I just copied it.
You probably did, but remember when the last time was you did a Q&A?
I know, but I thought I didn't you're right, I didn't update this one. Okay, don't click on the link in the description for this live stream. I'll try to fix it in the replay. But let me see. Description. You're right. Okay. I'll try to I'll fix it for the replay. And but any other recent video or live stream replay, well, they're not in the videos, but the replays of live streams, it is. So I do need to wrap it up. My bladder's screaming at me. Thank you again, everyone, for being here. Thanks for the tips. There was no coffees today, but thanks for the tips, the super chats, and the super stickers, which, by the way, all came from Trucker King. Anyway, I guess I need to pull this off of here and do that so you can see my hand gestures.
So the first link is yours. Second link is mine. You're buying me a coffee.
Oh, there you go.
Works. See if Lurch's does. Yep. Okay, so it was just the stream element links that aren't.
Oh,
valid.
mine aren't either. Oh, I didn't even look at mine. You're right.
That's back before Stream Elements gave us the custom link.
Right. Okay. That's it, everyone. Stick around for the credits roll. It is updated as of yesterday, I think, or before yesterday. So, thanks for joining along. And, we're going to be back here in 4.5 hours. And we're giving away some merch. A hat. Hopefully hopefully we'll have all the links right. I can't think straight. I can't think of anything else important to say. I gotta go. We'll see you guys back here in about 4.5 hours. Thanks again.